What's up, y'all? It's Truth Tiger, and I'm here to talk about The Matrix. The Matrix wants you broke, desperate, lonely, not thinking for yourself. The Matrix wants you, to feel dependent and stuck, and the Matrix really wants you in this state where it's like the Matrix has all the power and you have none of the power, and you're just so weak and desperate and scared and freaked out and in a state of fear and desperation. And that's how most people go through life. That's how most people go through the world. And most people are enslaved to the Matrix like that. The Matrix really, the thing about the Matrix is like all the jobs, all the businesses, all the money, all of that is all under control of the Matrix. And the Matrix is going to kind of say to you, hey, I'll give you this dollar, but you have to really be a good boy or a good girl, and you have to really be, you have to really be very much in submission to this crazy, it's a societal system, and you're so just trapped like a rat where you can barely afford anything. Once you pay all your bills, you don't have any money left, so you're just living paycheck to paycheck, desperate. And then the Matrix gets you into materialism. So even if you do make a bit of money, before you know it, you got some fancy car or, some fancy house or something, and you're back in the trap, and people will put themselves in the trap. Maybe they take fancy vacations, maybe they go out to the bars a lot, to restaurants a lot, whatever, but people stay in this trap where they never have any money saved up, they never have any freedom, and they're always just working, and they're desperately scared to lose their job. They're desperately scared to get any bad marks against them by the system. Because if you get fired from a job, let's say, now you have a bad mark against you, and the other jobs are going to ask you, why did you get fired? Say you go to jail, you get a criminal conviction. Now you have to carry that around with you everywhere you go in life. It's going to be hard to get a job. You can't move into certain apartments, whatever. The Matrix has us by the cojones so bad, so bad. You want to move into an apartment, you're sending them all your pay stubs, and you have to send them, references to the previous apartment you lived in, and it's just it's getting worse and worse and worse. Back in the day, you could probably just talk to the manager, put down first and last month's rent, move in, boom, not too many questions asked. But now it's they're digging into everything you're doing. You're getting your background checked before you do everything. You're doing all this stuff. They're looking at all your past income, all these kinds of things, and it's so just like Big Brother's watching, especially in our society. That's how I feel now, is everything I'm doing, it's the government's watching me, the corporations are watching me, the educational system's watching me, and the Matrix, it goes so deep, because with government, you have our government, I live in America, but whatever, you live in your country, you have that government. Then you have the United Nations, and they govern over us, and I didn't vote for that. I don't want that. What is that, You got the United Nations, you got NATO, you got all these international organizations, and I'm what the heck is going on, the Matrix is just so... It's so weird, and it's not happening with the consent of us people at all. And if we were giving consent and we were of a sound mind, we wouldn't give consent to that. And the Matrix just has our minds completely cooked with religion, cooked with advertisements, cooked with all the people around us spewing this groupthink stuff to us and bringing us down spiritually, and everyone around you will bring you down spiritually. And it's just got us all in this crab bucket mentality. And the crab bucket mentality is when you have a bucket full of crabs that you've caught and you're about to cook them. And when one of them tries to escape the bucket, the other ones will grab onto that crab and pull him back down in, Yeah, and that's really is what's happening with the people around us, where we try to leave the Matrix and they try to drag us down as much as possible. And we have all these narcissists everywhere and all these narcissistic enablers everywhere. And it's you go to work, narcissists. You go everywhere you go, there's just these narcissists everywhere, and they are like the prime, proponents of the Matrix. They really make sure that you're being plugged into the Matrix big time, and so do their enablers, and it's just like everywhere you go, it's this. And nowadays they're jacking up the prices of houses and all this stuff, and like I'm telling you, like they're gonna steal everything from us. Like the common person is not gonna be able to afford a house, not gonna be able to afford rent, is gonna be working freaking 60 hours a week just to get by, just to have food, and they're gonna have us there, and they're gonna get those people so programmed that they're gonna say thank you, well, I'm grateful for this, and man, like it's just they really got us bent over a barrel here. They really do. And they're colluding against us, and the elites of society are fully bought into this matrix, and they're doing whatever they can to push it down to the bottom and to take as much money from us people on the bottom as possible, and to keep us poor, broke, and stuck. And like we got to think outside of the box. We got to think outside of the matrix, or else we will end up just completely broke, no savings, no money, no friends, no real friends, like a lot of people have fake friends. And it's funny because I was talking to a more extroverted guy that I know who has all these friends and all these people, and he's so popular and da. But I'm talking to him and he's like, and I was hanging out with some people and I'm looking at the clock and I'm like, how much longer is it going to go for? But then I just figured whatever. And we spent all 4 hours on the Sunday, and I didn't get home till 9 o'clock, and now I got work the next day. And I could see it's just like, man, like it's a never ending treadmill with no rest, and they're just running from one thing to another, and they're all putting on these fake smiles like they're happy, but they're not, man. The Matrix has them completely trapped, completely encased, and they're just going around like robots following their programming, not thinking for themselves whatsoever, and they're going to end up literally with nothing, nothing spiritually at least. Some of them might end up with some earthly money of some kind, not most of them, not the vast majority of them, but man, no spiritual knowledge whatsoever. And once they get that money, it's never enough. They always need more. It's not just like, well, I got a house, I got a boat, I got a cool car, I'm good. No, it's like I have to have more and bigger, and I have to work another 80-hour week, and I have to keep pushing myself for this and that. And like even these people take these vacations, and I'm like, are they even happy with the vacation? Because people will say, I need a vacation from my vacation. It's like, what did you do on vacation? I have to travel there so I can talk about it with people and take social media pictures and act like they're having so much fun, but they're not. They are very, very deeply, deeply depressed, and I've known people like this where it seems like they're living the life, but underneath it all, they are incredibly, incredibly depressed. A story I've told before is a story of Matthew Mellon. Matthew Mellon is from the Mellon banking family. If you've heard of Carnegie Mellon University, that's the Mellon banking family back at the turn of the century in 1908 or something like that. They financed the steel industry, I think, and became really, really rich, and now they have all this generational wealth. And he's like Matthew Mellon's like the grandson of, the original patriarch of that, business dynasty or whatever. And this guy, 6'2", handsome, went to Oxford, dating supermodels, married to some supermodels. Everything he could have wanted in life. Everything was easy, At age 52, he's doing all, he's in and out of rehab, in and out of all this stuff, and all this divorces, and all this, addictions, and all this stuff. By the age of 52, he unfortunately actually, self-deletes. I don't want to say a certain word here to get the algorithm mad at me, but, he ended up, unfortunately, taking his own, life. And that's horrible. But it just shows there's no spiritual mission going on there, And he may have had actual money, but he was spiritually broke, He was spiritually bankrupt, He really was. And we see this with the elites, Hey, we see it with the son of our own president who didn't Hunter Biden bring like a crack pipe into the White House or something? we're seeing it, and we're seeing the puppet show, and we're looking, and I'm looking up at these people, and I'm like, I look at these politicians, these business leaders, and whatever, and I'm like, I don't want to be like that. I don't look up to them. Like, I just want to have financial independence. I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be stuck. I want to be able to have a house. I want to be able to have some decent things. I want to be able to afford to have a family. That's all. That's all, and I realize if I'm doing the thing that everyone else is doing, it's not going to happen. I'm going to be stressed and broke, and it's going to cause pressure. And then let's say I do get married, me and the wife are going to be fighting over money and fighting over this and that. And I realize I got to get out of the matrix, get out of the system, start my own businesses, do my own thing, make money my own way, in my own accordance, figure out life for myself, maybe move out of the city. I don't know, but I'm really thinking about my future, and I'm like, I gotta have some kind of a plan, and so do you all, some kind of way to get out of the system, because just doing this grind, it's like they always pay you just enough so you can just barely afford to get by, and you see people and they're just going around like robots, just unhappy. You can see the darkness on people's eyes. They are not happy with this life in the matrix, They are not happy with the narcissistic matrix, and people just feel really stuck. And it's just Groundhog Day, I'll read posts on the internet and I'll hear people talk, and I'll hear people, someone who's a dad or whatever, and he just says, the time just goes by. I go to work, I take the kids to the soccer game, I do this, that, go to the gym, or if they do that or whatever. And, before you know it, I'm 52. And, oh boy, those last 10, 20 years, just, it's where did the time even go, and it's just like, they're so entranced, like, by this, they're in a complete trance, and they're completely out of it, and they're just like robotically going along, and it's just like, man, like, get some of your own awareness back, get your own mind back, like, get the Matrix and 666 and all that mind control out of your mind, but they're just like going through life like that. It's so sad, it's so depressing, and it's so just like, a man's not leading that family. The Matrix is leading that family, and the Matrix is the man of everybody, and everyone's just like, how can I make the Matrix happy? How can I finally do this? How can I finally get ahead? And I've known a lot of people who are high achievers and who have their master's degrees and who make a lot of money and stuff like that. And the vast majority of them are very unhappy, and the vast majority of them are not like leaders. They are not people who think for themselves at all. They don't think for themselves whatsoever. And I've met these people, and I'm like, man, I'm impressed with what you know about science, or what you know about business, or the network you have, or whatever they did to get successful. But I'm impressed by that. But it's like, man, I talk to them and I'm like, you do not think for yourself. They're just like, I'm just desperate to make more money. I'm just desperate to get to that next step. And they're like, talking about how they don't spend time with their families, and they don't spend time with their kids. And I look at them and I'm just like, man, these people aren't happy. They're not doing it. And, it's all levels, people who are on the middle, unhappy, people who are lower down, unhappy. And, and for people who are lower down in terms of the money and all that, like, they're trying, they don't even, they don't even see you. It's like you don't even exist, They're just trying to, get as much money out of you as possible, and just like, they're not thinking about you, like, they're not thinking about how to, like, I don't know, like, all these apartments they build are luxury apartments, and it's like, hey, like, just build an apartment that's not a luxury apartment, just keep it clean, have it nice, but you don't have to spend all this extra money on granite countertops, or you don't have to have a pool, or, all this stuff, and you could pass those savings on to people, but they don't want to do that, They're trying to make everything like some kind of luxury product, and, they don't want a society that for any people who have a less amount of money. They don't want a society for the poor. They just want the poor out of sight, out of mind, and, and the liberal types have all this false morality for the poor, but most of the liberal types wish they were rich. They wish they were artists. They wish they were like, most actual liberal types want to have like some rich parents who will pay for everything for them. That's what they really want. They don't want to have to actually work and stuff like that. And they believe they're better than work, they're better than society. And I live in a very liberal area, and that's the attitude they have is, and they kind of like wish they were the aristocracy, because that kind of attitude of these liberal values and stuff, like, it's the attitude of the aristocracy. Whereas a more like conservative, like, hey, I gotta put a roof over my head, I gotta get food, I gotta make sure I'm good on my spirituality, and I gotta get these basics nailed down. Things have to be practical, things have to work, and that's ultimately what's gonna get people going, But what we have now is, the mentality of the aristocracy, and people can't afford houses, and I'm kind of rambling all over the place with this video. I'll try to get back to focus here, but just like the Matrix is just trying to keep us all freaking squished in this little box, man. It really is, and we gotta bust out. We gotta think for ourselves. We gotta figure things out, and I'm not buying into the Matrix, and I know I have a life mission to break this thing apart, and I know that if you live in the Matrix, you're just gonna end up broken, depressed, sad, lonely, unhappy, just like a robot going through the motions. It's like you're not even there, And that's what it is in the Matrix. It's like they're not even there, All right, y'all. I'm going to end this video now. God bless. Thank you all for watching. I will see you next time.